Hey guys, for this first video on conic sections, I'd like to practice graphing a hyperbola. But before we get started, I'd like to make a shout out to 8th period. Y'all are always a fun class, appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get started. So we have this equation y squared over 9 minus x squared over 16 equals 1. And I would also like to write out this standard form of a hyperbola just as a reference point. So we have y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. So for a hyperbola, the a squared is always underneath the variable in front with the positive sign rather than the minus sign. So our first vertices will be at 0, a, so 0 plus or minus 3 in this case. So we can go ahead and graph those. So we'll have one point here, one vertices here, one vertices there. Then the next point is the conjugate points, which is plus or minus b, so plus or minus 4, 0. Let's graph that there and there. Then next important thing to have on your graph, we want to have the foci. So c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So c squared is equal to 9 plus 16. So c in this case would be 5. So we'd have one foci. Let's do that in a different color. One foci there. And one foci there. Okay, and then the next thing we want to have is our asymptotes. The asymptotes will actually help us draw the curve of the hyperbola, which is of the form y equals plus or minus a over b, so in this case 3 over 4 x. So the foci will, if it's centered at the origin, will pass, sorry, not the foci, the asymptotes will pass through the origin. So we'll have one point here, and another point here. I'll make it roughly like that. And for the negative slope, another point here. So that looks roughly good enough. Okay, now let's do a green for the actual curve of the hyperbola. So we just want to approach this asymptote and then pass through our vertices there and there. Okay. So something like that would be sufficient for your take-home test if you have a hyperbola like this.